So I went undefeated with Ofist at House Rules Gaming. There we didn't really have that many people. We just had 6 people. It really wasn't a big tournament. It was a major tournament, but like when I say undefeated, I mean undefeated, undefeated. it was 3 rounds, and I 2-0'd all my opponents. Like the first round, I was playing against Bruce, 2-0'd him easily. I went second both games, and I still won. It was crazy. Like when you go second with Orphis, it doesn't even feel like you're going second. It honestly feels like you're going first with like extra steps. Like it's crazy, to be honest. And then the second one, what was it? No, that was the last round. Second round was the second round. No, yeah, the second round was Nirvana. I was playing against Nirvana, and I did. I think I went first the first game, or but either way, no, I might have went second again both games and still won. Like it's crazy. Like going second in Orphis, you literally have an 8 card hand on your first turn, or by the end of your first turn. It's crazy going second in this deck is crazy. But I 2-0'd him as well, and then for the last one was actually up against my Eugene deck, because one of my friends and teammates, he was borrowing one of my decks because I was tweaking Eugene, seeing if the idea worked or not, and it was working because apparently he was undefeated as well. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it's working. I kept asking him everyone, hey, is it working? He's like, dude, it's insane. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it's working. And then I got to see it for myself, but this deck just steamrolled it. Like, it just didn't care about Eugene. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the second one was like the closest one where like we were like both at 5. It was inched out, but it just out advantaged Eugene in the end in terms of like sheer like numbers. Like the numbers it makes are just so consistent and so big. Anyways, let's just get into the deck profile. Y'all caught me slipping. I don't have a mat for this deck. I wish I did, but I don't. You're just gonna stick with the Orphis ride line. There's really no reason not to. It gets you your order, and it Cubizia, just like giving something 5k just helps you rush on turn 2, which is super key in this deck. And then let's get on to the 4 perfect guards. 1 of the Brantgate Overtrigger, and this trigger feels so disgusting. There was like in one against Nirvana, I think it was the second or first game, I flipped it against him. Bro, I didn't even need to give the 100 mil to my Vanguard. Just doubling the power of my Vanguard made my Vanguard 51 and able to break over his 48k shield, or 48k guard, which was like a 2 to pass. It was crazy. This feels like one of the better ones. Well, I think the best one, in my opinion at least, is the Stoicheia one, just because it's an ultimate trigger. It's an ultimate trigger. But, and then for the 20k guard fronts, you want to max out on your shield like always. And then for heal, nothing special. And then the rest are just 7 crits. And let's get on to the bread and butter of this deck. You max out on the persona. You just max out on the persona ride. It just helps you make those consistent 30k, 40k, 48k columns. It's basically what this deck is to do. Is like, I'm gonna hit you, and I'm gonna hit you hard. like these numbers are massive, so that just helps facilitate your game plan of just making massive numbers. So yeah, there's really not much, honestly not much to talk about in that one. And then for the orders, this is actually where you might say, oh my god, why are you doing that? This deck is bad. And like, I wanted to see if it worked or not. And I do think that this plan, or at least in my like testing, trying it out at the tournament, it worked out pretty well for me. I'm playing 1 Eclipse to Moonlit Night. This is what you wanna search off of your grade 1 Noid, because you're only playing 1 of it, and this what enables you to do your turn 2 rush. Like, that's why you won't play it at 1, because you search out. That's what I search constantly, and the other ones I feel like you don't really need to search them because they're not as important. I run 3 Howling Moonlit Night, and then 3 In the Darkness That Nobody Knows. Now the reason that I'm running such a small engine of world cards is because I'm playing 4 Cardinal Fang. Now, Cardinal Fang lets me look at the top 3 cards in my deck, add a World Order card if it's there, and then put the rest on the bottom in any order. This essentially just helps me look for orders when I need orders, helps me filter my deck. So that's why I've been maxing out at 4, just because it helps with the early game rush, because that's what you want to do. You want to early game rush your opponent, and then counterblast 2, make a bigger board next turn, and then just hit him again. Like, there was so many times that where I just was going for game on turn 3, just because this deck is so powerful. But yeah, we're playing 4 Cardinal Fang. I just wanted to test out a smaller engine of world cards, because I feel like a common mistake in this deck is running too many world cards, and you're running too many cards without shield, or like too many. Not that it's important, because most of your shield is in your triggers, but too many cards that don't do anything. Like, if you have 3 orders in hand, you can only activate 1. To whereas if you have like 2 of this card in my hand, which this card just loves me, I kept opening up with multiples of it, to whereas I had to pitch it, because everything else in my hand was just straight gas, so I had to pitch the extra Fang. So this is just the engine I've been trying out. It's been working out for me so far. If I don't already have the 2 or the second order in my hand, because you still mull for the order. You mull all the way for the order, but if you don't have the second order in your hand, this just helps you search for it. Key card in the deck. And then let's go on to the rest of your units. Playing 4 Alviderd. Alviderd is also such a very important card to have on turn 2, because even though you're in Dark Knight and Abyssal Dark Knight, Alviderd still gets the 2k. You know what that means? You could put Alviderd in front of an 8k, and that's a 20k line that hits over a trigger if they went first. Which, technically, if they're going first, you're going first, because you're starting with 8 cards in hand. But I digress. 4 Alviderd, just important, especially for his pop ability and later in the game. Usually you don't use it on turn 2. Maybe if they call it an important unit, you'll use it. But most of the time, on turn 2, you might use Thumbarino. Thumbarino is just so important in this deck that it's turn 2, you can make a 38k lane. Turn 2. Most of the time, you're giving the 5k to your Vanguard, so you're swinging 15, 20, 38, or most of the time, I'll save Thumbarino for next turn. I'll call a Fang, make a 25k column, 20k column, and my Vanguard's 15. And still, 25 on turn 2 is just so... Oh my god, it's so amazing. It's literally busted. But yeah, we're running 4 Thumbarino. I usually save Thumbarino for the later stages of the game, unless I'm playing against a deck that, like, retires. In early, like Eugene, like, that was the only time where I used Thumbarino to clear my board, where I didn't really rush. But yeah, maxing her out at 4, and then we're playing 4 of Bulbul Mind. Now, the reason we're playing Bulbul Mind over the Alien Cat that lets you pitch an order to countercharge one, even though it's in main phase, and that's technically better. The reason we're playing Bulbul Mind is because we're rushing, and it facilitates 2 things in this deck. It gives you soul for your order cards, because the reason I could technically play less copies of these, but the reason that we're playing 3 and 3 of each is because there's times where you want to activate Howling, and there's times you want to activate In the Darkness that nobody knows. Like, there's times that I want to clear my opponent's field of their good units with Alviderd, so I'll do In Darkness Nobody Knows, and then pop with Alviderd, and you're getting like 2 to 3 units in that one turn. And then Howling is just a cycle, but this just helps facilitate your soul, and it's also another key card on your turn 2. On your turn 2 rush turn, when you call this behind Alviderd, you swing, it's a 20k, and then it goes into your soul. It frees up the back column behind Alviderd, and you get to countercharge and soul charge one. And it also helps against damage denial. But even if they do damage denial you, like, you're just so far ahead because of your rush, you could still make decent-ish numbers and push. So, I guess we can go over why I'm running 3-3 instead of 4-2. I know most people don't like In Darkness That Nobody Knows, but sometimes it really does come in handy to just blow up a front row. Like, there was times where I had Howling and I had In Darkness That Nobody Knows in my hand. I still have an Alveator on the field to pop anything I wanted to pop, but against Verena, popping that 15k interceptor before your battle phase, before they even get the chance to use it, because ideally you want to attack with the Vanguard first so you can pass triggers to the rear guard, right? This just lets you like say no, get that out of here, or just intercepts in general that you know that your opponent's going to use it as soon as possible, because you're just going to pop it with Alveator. So that's the reason why this is at 3 versus just playing 4 of this and then maybe 2 of this or none of this at all. Just because I actually value the retire in this deck. It comes in handy, comes in clutch. But, I guess there's really not much else to say. This, out of all the decks that I've played in Overdress, and I even played Bastion, this is like the only one that felt disgusting, whether it went first or second. Like, I've seen Bastion go first, and like, yeah, they've gotten damage on board. Like, I feel like Bastion going first is only really disgusting if they flip the over trigger, or like if they like crit you or something. But I've seen Bastion go first, and I've seen this deck go first. I've seen this deck go second versus, in my opinion, any other deck. It just feels disgusting, especially against Bruce, which is widely considered one of the best decks in the middle right now. You go second against Bruce, you're not going second. You and Bruce signed a contract. They don't know about it, but you guys signed a contract where whenever they go first, you're going first. So if they go first, you're technically turn 0. That's how disgusting this deck feels. Just like, you gain so much advantage from going second, and then like going first, like you're going first. Your turn 2 push and your turn 3 push are just so strong in this deck. And then we're getting more support in the future. It's just, oh my goodness. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you think I'm running too few orders, tell me why. If you think I'm running too many, tell me why. Or you like have any other like spicy techs or something that you want to recommend to me, recommend it. But honestly, like, people are saying Bruce is disgusting. This deck literally feels disgusting. This is the only deck, like, all of my games, it felt disgusting. Like, there was times that like I was really close to losing, but like I literally just vomited my whole hand for guard, and then CB2 made a board. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, this deck just feels so, it's so like tanky, but like strong at the same time. Like, this is literally the definition of using your shield as a sword or using your sword as a shield. This is that deck. When they're saying that expression, they're talking about Ofist. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna let you go.